Your new social lubricant.
America's first competition talk show.
You're in the hub.
Good day and welcome to the Hub Internet Show. I'm your host Joel Aaron, joined today by Stephanie, Jared, and Rich on the panel for today being the last day for the panel, and your last day to vote on whether Stephanie or Jared won the face-off debate last week. So go to the website, post your comment, your vote in the YouTube video. We are shameless self-endorsers here on it. And determine who you think won the face-off debate and who will be coming back this week. Okay, you hear about this Rich Iranian cleric recently made the admonition to the media in Iran that that earthquakes have been traced to promiscuity among Muslim women in the country. And it makes a lot of sense to me because Iran is one of the world's most active earthquake regions. And so that immediately tells me there's a lot of promiscuity that I just didn't see before going on in the burqa-wearing Muslim female population. I don't know if they're just, skirting up too tighter or what, but, it seems to be, it seems to make all the sense in the world.
I mean, it's a known fact that loose lips sink ships. So why shouldn't maybe some short skirts shake mountains? I don't know.
Well, this is the way the world works. As the world turns, Stephanie.
I appreciate the fact that as a woman, I have so much strength that I can cause earthquakes. That's all I have to say. I can cause earthquakes because I'm so strong. And why is there not a woman president?
See, well, right about now might be a good thing. Well, but that's the thing. I mean, and that's biblical. If you have the faith as small as a mustard seed, you can cause the mountain to just jump into the sea.
Are you sure it wasn't Tiger Woods women and Jesse James women? Maybe it was their fault for all these earthquakes.
Could have worked for them too. They took a trip to Tehran. All right, we got an interesting story right now going on with interest rates. My interest really perked up after this story. But apparently the interest rates in this country, economists are now saying we are about to be in for the ride of our life with hyperinflation, and very shortly could be standing in long lines like the Weimar Republic. I don't want to scare anybody, or sitting in gas lines like the Carter Republic, and all of this because of the hyperinflation that is coming. But basically, the bottom line is they're saying we cannot print money like it's going out of style and not have this kind of not get ready to experience this sort of thing. So. I mean, are you guys buying property offshore now? Are you buying property in Sweden? Or how are you getting ready for this?
Nah,
Do you even see it coming?
I do eat a lot more Chinese food these days, though.
Do you? Okay. Yeah. Developing a taste for,
Well, just in case.
Easier transition.
Yeah.
Okay. Jared, what do you think? Do you believe this? Is it coming? Do you have a doomsday mentality about it?
Well, yeah, I think there's the questions of hyperinflation and Weimar Republic. I actually have a Weimar note, $1 million or $1 million mark Reichsmark from the Weimar Republic,
which you can't even get rid of on Craigslist. So don't think that's going to save.
I think it was like worth $2 or $3 on eBay, but I'm going to hold on to that until it's actually worth more than the $3, and that may not be too long from now. Yes, interest rates are too low. Is hyperinflation coming? Probably, if we don't stop printing money. But interest rates have been too low now for a good probably 15 years. I mean, this started with under Clinton with the value stock crash. We dropped interest rates to bring the market back. The market came back, but it was all predicated on home loans. So you can't bring the interest rates back up. So we've been running with this lower than market needed interest rate for a long period of time. And at some point, we're going to have to pay the piper on it, and it's going to have to go back up because 3% and 4% is not sustainable. Nobody wants to make that kind of money, and it is an artificially low number being supported by the Fed.
Well, and all very good points. In fact, producer Jeff said earlier they used to track this right track the Dow, the rise and the fall based on the height of women's skirts at one point in the earlier part of the 20th century, and they determined this way. And I swear to God, I saw a woman yesterday walking down the street with a Victorian hoop skirt on. It's gotten that bad. I mean, they're literally tripping over their own dresses at this point. That tells me the Dow is tanking, Stephanie. It's coming. It's coming. All my things to come.
I'm really not sure how to respond to that one. But in addition to the, forced low interest rate, they also were giving away $8,000 a month. So I'm just going to be given $8,000 a month because I haven't owned a house in 3 years. How does this work? And you know what? I don't want to own right now. So can they just give me that money? And to your point about going overseas, I'll just take it and invest it in a house somewhere else.
Well, and see, that's the thing. I mean, how are you encouraging a more responsible, fiscally responsible spending habit when it was the housing bubble that got this whole thing started was given by, frivolous loans, subprime lending going out, the yin yang being encouraged by the government to give loans through Freddie and Fannie at the time. And now we've got this $8,500 tax credit, which has been extended through the end of the month of April. Because there's, and essentially, if I'm sitting here right now, not able to afford the home I would like to live in, and saying, I can put, I get $8,500 just to put down on the home. I don't even have to have a job to get in a house at this point. What's happening is the banks are holding on to these properties out of fear that this is a bubble and that it is a false high, a false market, and that we're trending toward the next bubble burst, not only in the residential, but probably in the commercial sector.
What they say is, in history, those who don't read history are doomed to repeat it. Yeah, in Washington right now, it's those that don't read the headlines from 3 years ago are doomed to repeat those again. We know what the problem was. The problem was too many people in the housing market. And yet we're going to keep continuing to encourage people to get into the housing market. And it doesn't make any sense. And right before the crash, they kept doing it with Fannie and Freddie. They kept extending how much Fannie and Freddie could loan out. And that was the whole problem. Stop loaning money to people that can't pay it back. If they can't pay it back, it is not going to end pretty. And until we let this thing crash, as bad as that's going to be, until we let it actually go, until we let the foreclosures hit the market and housing prices collapse a little bit, then you're never going to get out of this. And as much as Barney Frank wants to stand up there on the Hill and talk about affordable housing, the only way, you can't get affordable housing and continue to prop up housing prices at the same time. If what we have today is not affordable, you can't prop it up and expect it to
Well, but he can count his house off on his taxes at the end of the year because he's running a small business.
He doesn't pay taxes.
So I've heard.
I'm going to be the outlier here, all right? First of all, by definition, affordable housing is anything that's $252,000 and less. So, therefore, you can put a lot of juice back into the local economy by being able to get affordable housing by definition. Now, I admit the $8,000 tax credit or reimbursement that they allow people to get, it's probably money that I would like to receive that I can't get. But at the end of the day, I would much rather see us taking $8,000 and putting it into someone who's buying a house that ultimately is going to pay taxes and pay for services, as opposed to continue to go down this subsidized road of more bloated public housing, which at the end of the day doesn't get anybody motivated to do anything except to get a bigger 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom apartment the next time they do the next update.
Hold on though.
Stephanie?
Hold on though. 47% of Americans don't pay their taxes. So if you can't qualify for this unless you're low income, so we're just going to give money because they're low income and assume that they can afford it. We're going right back into the housing bubble we were in. We're creating that. Cash for clunkers is the same thing. It talks about in here, household debt has been dropping for the last 2 years. Okay, it's $13.5 trillion, exceeding our $2.5 trillion. At the end of the day, yeah, maybe I don't want to subsidize them. I don't want to subsidize anybody but myself and the people I choose to give money to. I rent because it's a responsible thing to do, and I'm not asking somebody to pay for anything. Oh, and I had to buy a new car. I didn't qualify for the cash for clunkers. I'm done. Stop giving my money away. Done.
Yeah, you just need to buy an old Model T and you would qualify. But ultimately, the end of the day, I mean, we're talking about plastic used to make it possible, no longer. I mean, they're talking about 16 to 17% interest rates on credit debt, ratcheting up as high as that here at the end of the year. So we're in trouble, and ultimately we have to become responsible and ratchet, up the belt a little bit ourselves to prepare for this. And good spending habits is a good start. We'll see you tomorrow on the Hub.